when you mentioned that you didn't understand why, not why didn't you understand, but why is that what works?
It goes back to that personal accountability model that you were open this interview with. And that is that by thinking that change has to start at the top to work down, puts everybody else in the victim mode. Because you're like now a victim to upper management. And it's not empowering. And it finally hit me that no, it's not about waiting for upper management to change so we can change. Really, the whole game of accountability is you taking responsibility and ownership for your own change.
Okay.
So if middle management right now is in the weakest position because we're always kept separate from each other, let's get together. Let's unify as a team. We're closer to operations than any other true decision maker.
Right.
At a high level.
Right.
Because senior management's too far to make great decisions. They don't always understand the impact of their decision.
Right.
And so let's come together and literally take ownership for the organization or the whole business results and the culture. Like, what kind of culture do we want to create? Well, we want to create one that's cross-functional now that we're working cross-functionally and we're role modeling it. So it became the perfect place to actually leverage culture change and business results at the same time. And the problem with some of the methodologies recently are bottom up, like Holacracy is a book written about starting the change at the bottom.
Okay.
Which is great when you're dealing with customer changes, and it's great when you're dealing with process changes. But it's never going to take you into the future in a new business model.
Right.
Because they're not privy to the external drivers that would constitute need to change the business model.
Also, they're not paid to think.
And they're not paid to think that way.
Be motivated.
That's right. But they don't even have exposure to that nearly because they're busy doing the day-to-day job. And it's like, what's the role of senior management? They are the furthest away from day-to-day. They need to be looking out at the future. They need to be looking at competition. They need to be looking at business strategy and external drivers. Whereas the middle management, their part is how do I ensure operational excellence, but also how am I operating and foreseeing where the organization is going based on what we're being given from the strategy of senior management and growing our people to get there, developing our people to get there. So you can't leave them out of the equation. And that's what, Holacracy found when they worked with, I think it was Zappos, where they got great success at the lower levels and middle management were dropping like flies and leaving and disenfranchised. Because at the end of the day, it's not about excluding anybody and making one group more important than the other. It's about role. What is your role? And it's the role of the people at the lowest levels to serve customers and to improve operations, to better serve customers and better coordinate with each other. It's the role of directors to say, how do we remove all the obstacles that's going to get in your way of doing that? And it's the role of this, and how do we develop you to replace us and really provide stronger leadership by developing leadership at every level? That's the role of directors. Now, the role of senior management is to look outside. Stop being micromanaging, stop being a middle manager and operating that way. Play your own game, but make your game really important in terms of understanding business strategy, understanding new business models, understanding, really where does our future success lie. And now all of a sudden everyone's playing their role. Just like on any, sports team, music group, everyone's got their role. We don't necessarily cross over and no one's more important than the other. Even though some people touch the ball more than others, that doesn't mean they're more important. Right. It just means they're playing a certain role. And we've got to kind of get back to what's the role and what does our role need to look like 5 years from now that it doesn't look like today because of the changing business environment.